Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, Declare Your Independence. Declare Your Independence. This is a season, of course, of celebrating the 4th of July, a time when we are giving respect and honor to soldiers, a time where we remember what we've learned about our American history, a time where many grieve what is currently taking place in our country. Independence. Declare your independence. But spiritually, what does that mean? Well, first and foremost, you got to take a look at your prayers, the things that you recently prayed about, the things that you want to be independent from. Okay? I want to be independent from this situation. I want to be independent from this relationship. I want to be independent from this job. I do not want to be dependent any longer. Some folks are saying they want to be free, right? Free from their circumstances, free from what they signed their name to, free from the application that they filled out, that they got approved, but then found out there was a lot of problems. So I need to be free of this contract. Okay? Independence. When you declare your independence, that simply means that you are stating that this is what you want. Okay, you're not in it right now. You're still dependent on the parents or dependent on the husband, the wife, the sister, the brother, or whoever who is dangling a carrot over your head, who is saying that this is my house, my car, and until you do A, B, and C, then you are just going to have to abide by my rules. You are declaring what is to come in the future. You are no longer thinking about, I'm in this thing, I'm upset, I'm still messed up about whatever happened that caused me to be dependent on this person or group, blah, 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 blah. You get out of that state of mind when you are declaring independence. You are seeing what the future holds because God has put it upon your spirit. You have faith. Faith, not in men, not in women. You are not looking at your present situation, but you are, oh Lord Jesus, looking at the future. The future is bright, says the woman who is in a messed up predicament. I am going to see myself through this thing, says the man who got himself caught up, mixed up, or married to some drama. There is that child who realizes that the parents are not very loving, sweet, or kind, and yet I still got to be in this household, but I'm looking toward that future that God has put upon me because I prayed about it. You see, years ago I went to the church. Years ago I had people praying about my predicament. I was able to talk to some people about some things that was going on in my life. This has happened many, many times where I had to declare my independence, and then I had to eventually, walk in that independence. So that means that you are disconnecting yourself from the people, places, and things that you're dependent on. You are looking for the exit plan. You are looking for the opportunity. You are taking some people up on their offers of help to get you up out of that situation that keeps you dependent. Because see, some help is only temporal. We're not trying to make you dependent on the system, dependent on me, dependent on, whatever or whoever. No, we want you to be independent in Jesus' mighty name, says the group, says, that healthy, functional adult, or that resource that is there today, but will not be there tomorrow. We're going to give you a limited amount of help, and then we expect you to be independent. You see, some people had to fight for their independence. Our country fought for her independence. Some people had to beg, borrow, and steal. Some people had to do some unorthodox things, some things that we can't even speak about in order to get free, but they're free though. You see, sometimes it doesn't come, our independence, in the way that we had hoped. It doesn't come necessarily legal. Sometimes things happen that cause one to declare their independence in a way that would leave some of us scratching our heads and wonder if God was even in the plan. You see, some people have a testimony of how they got free from men and women and how they got a righteous connection with the one true God. You see, and they decided to take their dependence on the system, the structure, the men, the women, and put their dependence on the one true God. Now that's okay and that's all right, while living independently in mind, body, and spirit. You see, because God, as I've said in other audio, is not creating robots and puppets. Men and women do that sort of thing. You see, you can still be dependent on God, yet independently thinking, should I or shouldn't I? Do I want to do this or not? See, God will give us enough information to make a conscientious decision. Some will choose right, others will choose wrong. Okay? If we're about working toward our higher good, then of course we're going to be disconnecting ourselves from anything that is toxic, anything that's obstructing our view, anything that's keeping us bound. We are going to say goodbye to anyone who is keeping us in some kind of box based on their precepts that keep us dependent on them. You see, controlling people don't recognize that they end up catching a whole lot of you know what sooner or later, because if God's not doing all of what some of these controlling people are doing, then who are they? You see what I mean? You got controlling individuals who, I don't know why I'm going through like this. Well, you set up a system, a setting, an atmosphere where you wanted everybody to be dependent on you. Then when the pressure got rough, right, the roads got hard to travel on, now you become that difficult one, that pushes back on some folks, that one that gets upset with people, saying things like, how come you're not independent? How come you're not doing this, that, and the other? Did you read your own handbook? You told all these people to come to you. You told all these people to call you. You told all these people to show up and to be there for you. So quite naturally, they're going to be dependent on you. I'm telling somebody's truth. You see, and God said that I want you to relinquish control. You said, well, but maybe you see. And so the Lord said, okay, you can't handle those burdens, but I'm going to go ahead and allow those burdens to fall upon you, since you want everybody dependent on you. They're dependent on you, you see, and it looked good and okay and all right when things were running smoothly. Then when things started getting bad, now they don't like being in control. They don't like being the leader. We find out real quick that a lot of these controlling people are not fit to be leaders. Okay. A lot of these controlling people are just what they are. They're just simply controlling. They're just looking to feed off of other people. They're looking to get other people to be dependent on them for any number of things. But then controlling people don't realize, but you are also, in your controlling others, you are also dependent on them for their energy, for their resources, for their time, for their money, that group that you have under your thumb, or that daughter, or that son, or that husband, or that wife. I need you right now. Well, I'm not in the mood to be needed, says the controlling person. Okay. But you said, well, I know what I said, but I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. You see, that's the downside of being so dependent on folks, allowing them to take your time, your energy, your money, and anything else, is that they have their mood swings. They have their flaws, their frailties. They have their sin that they're dealing with. And when you need them the most, come on, somebody, they're not there for you. But you wanted to steer this ship. You wanted to control my life. You wanted to be a part of the programming. You wanted to send me off to college, or you wanted to make sure that I married this person. And then when I come to you and I need something from you, then you say no. or I can't do it. But you set me up all those years to depend on you, and now you don't want to help me. And this is why a lot of families end up falling apart, because you see, mama was being controlling rather than loving. Daddy was being controlling rather than loving. They were setting up a system with children where they were going to be dependent on them. And then there was just one problem. Mommy and daddy didn't anticipate they were going to get older, get tired, get weary, have their aches, pains, that money wasn't going to keep flowing like it used to. And so now they are trying to distance themselves from needy children that they created, that they spoiled. Uh-oh. I'm telling somebody's future, and I'm telling somebody else's current, what you are in right now. So now you want to be independent from children. You want to be independent from grandchildren. But that's not going to come without the fight, without the tears, without the upset, without people slamming doors, without people jumping up in faces and things like that. You see, because this is your design. This is by your design. I'm talking to some of those controlling individuals. Not everybody who listens is controlling, but are being controlled. Okay, some individuals in our network right now are being controlled. If we were to bring them all into a room and tell them to their faces that you're being controlled, they would cuss us. They would yell at us. They would say, "Who do you think you are? I'm not being controlled." But I beg to differ, because we have some individuals that they're being controlled in such a way that they're not being drawn near to the Lord, even through a controlling organization or controlling person, place, or thing. But instead, they're being told that I am your all, you see, or I can do this and I can do that, and all the while leading you right down Satan's path. You see, we start off thinking that we're so independent, right? Let's go back a little bit for some of you older individuals. Remember back in your 20s when you thought, hey, I got this. I got my own place. I got my own car. I got whatever you got. That's yours. And no longer do you have the parent or grandparent or foster parent or whoever, your guardian, telling you what to do, where to go, who to see, or anything else. You are on your own. Congratulations. You made it, right? So you're out there, you're doing your own thing, but sooner or later, though, you find yourself being dependent on someone else. Some of you younger men who dated older women, that's just what you did. You ended up going from mama's house. Now you go down that path with the older woman, and now she's controlling you. Okay? And people on the outside looking in will say, you're being controlled. You're looking at her as a mother figure, when you should be focusing on developing you, your mind, your body, your spirit, instead of focusing on getting your fleshly needs met by some older woman. And so what happens is, I'm just giving an example because we could say the same thing with some of the younger women being with the older men. When you're in a fleshly relationship, a relationship that's not by God's design, it's just by your preference or what you like, and you notice that the person is being controlling, then what you do is you rebel. Okay? You rebel. I remember being this way with an older man. I didn't appreciate him trying to play my daddy. So I decided to tell him a thing or two about telling me what I should and shouldn't do. And because I stood up for myself, he didn't appreciate that, and he had his share of mental issues going on with him. He did not hesitate to hit me. Okay. Not just once or twice, but we used to get into some serious physical all-out battles. Okay. Now, I say that to say that for some of you all, you may talk a whole lot about how independent you are, but people on the outside looking in, they can tell when somebody's very much being controlled, being very dependent on someone. And when they see that your dependence is taking a negative effect upon you, that's when they start telling you some things to try to get you up out of that mindset or that atmosphere or away from that connection. So going back to the example of the younger man with the older woman, he is fighting his way up out of a situation that he got himself in, right? he's rebelling. People around him are saying she's controlling you, she's using you, she's doing this, that, and the other, but he can't see it because all he sees is what she's giving in the meantime. But then when she stops giving, or when she starts putting ultimatums out there and rules and regulations, that's when he starts to see, he starts to experience the discomfort, and now he wants to get away. Okay. Some of you all, rather than see the functional, healthy relationship that God puts upon you, okay, you rather just stay in the dysfunction with someone or some group. And then when people start telling you some things about that someone or group, then you start either fighting against your messengers, or you're fighting against the system or the person that has put you in this situation where you are totally dependent on them. Okay? God, once again, did not call us to be these robots and puppets on strings, or people that's sitting around doing any and everything just to get somebody's crumbs, whether it's assets, finances, material, wealth, whatever you want to call it. But some people are willing to be in this demonic matrix, if you will, for just about any and everything. Because, simply put, they are dependent, and they're not trying in the least bit to declare their independence. Okay? It is sad to see people enslaved mentally, physically, spiritually by systems that they don't even like, they don't even support, but they pay me good. Or, well, when you just don't know, these people were here for me when so-and-so wasn't, and they got all sorts of excuses, but you're being controlled. Okay? Some people who are listening to this message right now, this is the day that you're going to declare your independence in Jesus' mighty name from that person, place, or thing that you know. Maybe you don't want everybody else to know, but you know he or she is very much controlling and very much expecting you to be dependent on them, because that's how they get the foothold. That's how they keep control in your life. They are basically mini gods. Okay. And some folks worship these folks. They may not worship statues, right? But they sure bow down in so many different ways. And some of you all, I don't want to be graphic, but you're bowing down on your knees doing some things to appease someone who you're dependent on. God said, get up off your knees. The only time you should be on your knees is praying. You understand? Not even getting on your knees to wash a man's feet. You feel me? Or being on your knees in between someone's legs. You understand? Get a backbone. Some of you women, more specifically, get a backbone about yourself and understand that there were those women who came before you who did all of what some of you all are doing now to try to maintain a connection, relationship, partnership, what have you, to this man. We know that, yes, in the Bible, men are esteemed, men are respected, men are, heads over women in a relationship or what have you. But at the end of the day, you are not to be a fool. And God, he shows you where you are a fool for love. You are a fool for being with someone so bad that you're willing to do anything and everything. And then because you're willing to do anything and everything, you put yourself at risk of being very much dependent on that man and whatever else that he wants you to be dependent on. Because I've had those individuals that came into my life that wanted to introduce some people, wanted to introduce some things that were nothing more than vices, things that were going to eventually become addictions that would just make me be dependent on that thing or things. And I seen the truth for what it was with some of those folks, because they were dependent on things and they wanted me to be dependent on things. And I wasn't about to be that foolish one that was going to get caught up. And that is why I ended up having fights with some folks, because they could see that they couldn't break me. They could see that I was strong-willed. They could see that I wasn't going to beat by the drum that everybody else was beating on. They could see that I was not going to be that one that was going to keep tolerating somebody using and abusing me. Okay? controlling people, when they see you're the type that fights back, whether verbally, physically, or any other kind of way, they know that they don't have you under their thumb, under their control, like they got those other ones. You see, God pulls you up out of situations if you're willing. So somebody today, your prayer is that, Lord, I need to be independent from this person, from this place, from this system, from this thing, or it could be even a workplace. I need to be independent from this, because this is what's bringing me down. This is what's causing me upset. This is what's keeping me, in some type of crazy making situation, or this is what's taking my mind away from you, Lord Jesus. And the Lord, when he gives you an answer, is not necessarily going to be an answer that you like, but it is going to be an answer that's going to require work. It's going to require discipline, dedication, and eventually it's going to require you to let go of someone or something mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually. Okay. There will be a letting go that takes place. It's going to be tearful for a while, but oh Lord Jesus, joy comes in the morning. Okay. So for those of you all who really want your independence, you've got to show that you're responsible, that you're trustworthy. You've got to show that you are determined to be that one that's free of the system, free of the manipulation, the toxic people, the lies, whatever you're tied to. You've got to be the one that shows that you are not willing to throw anybody under the bus or tell a lie or do something that's deceptive to declare or to achieve your independence. Okay. Because you got some people that they're willing to do some downright dirty, evil, despicable things. Okay. And when we are allowing the Lord to lead, yes, there will be those things that show up along the way that'll be ugly and muddy and dusty and dirty or what have you. But we can just rest in him, knowing that if God said we're going to be independent, then we ought to believe it. So if you want independence concerning your finances, well, receive it this day. You are going to get it. If you want independence when it comes to living on your own, then declare this day that you will get it. If you want independence from a system, a group, a workplace, or what have you, then declare in Jesus' mighty name that that is what you want. Okay. And walk as if it is already done. Okay. So I thank those of you all who are willing to do something a little different in this journey, and that is to declare your independence this day from whatever system, thing, what have you. I pray in Jesus' name that the demonic will stay away from you during this time. Okay. I know that it's going to be difficult. There'll be some roads that'll be bumpy, but I just pray that your protection, your safety, your wellness, all of that will be with the one true God. I pray that you'll have the necessary resources to help you up out of what you're trying to become independent from, and that you won't need to rely even on those resources for too long. Okay. So give the Lord praise this day. He is worthy to be praised. Thank him for what he's about to do in your life. Continue to pray whatever is on your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit. And then you want to go to the church and get around some like-minded individuals so that they can pray for you as well. And if it gives you some solace to just get away from your situation for a while, then that's what you do too, because it's better that you get away than end up in jail or 6 feet deep trying to get away from someone or something. So blessings to you. To God be the glory. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube Interim Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. And if you have yet to give, you are welcome to do so. There are links in the description box. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment. Thank you.